Hi everyone, welcome to the podcast. So today, guys, I have someone that I actually saw on LinkedIn. I was on LinkedIn and I came across these shoes. And when I came across these shoes, I was actually intrigued, but at the very same time, I was, there were a lot of things that were playing in my mind. Then I went through and I checked out who this person is, and I got to connect with this guy, right? So in this podcast, I will be interviewing him, right? He will be sharing he, how he managed to get to where he is, because when I spoke to him the first time and I heard his story, and that was inspirational for me. So on today's podcast, guys, I have Kholofelo, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I have Kholofelo with me on this podcast. So Kholofelo, man, how's it going?
Can't complain, man. How about you?
Nice, I mean, it's pretty much good. It's pretty much good. So, Kholofelo, without going any further, just so that we can just get into the video, into the podcast interview. Um, could you please tell us more about yourself? That just before you can start that part of can you tell me more about yourself? Even saying it just annoys me, but it's something that the people need to know, you know. So
Uh, no, it's fine. Like you said, my name is Kholofelo Smith Aphane.
okay,
I'm the founder and director of Kalahari Safety Footwear. I'm a health and safety officer by profession, and that's where probably not even probably, that's where the idea came. From the health and safety profession. I'm a father, and yeah, so I mean, there's not a lot of exciting things about me. So yeah, I guess the biggest thing is that what we are going to talk about. So
yeah,
I'd
yeah,
rather give you that short description or that short background.
okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm seeing your network. I think it's getting there. Can you see it?
My network.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's good. Okay. No problem. I actually saw something, but yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Now, from what you've said, right? One thing that I want to try and go deep in, it's you said that you are the founder and the CEO of Kalahari, right? So could you please tell us about your company?
Kalahari is at the moment we do safety shoes. So the idea was that I wanted to start a brand of safety shoes that is premium, or a premium brand of safety shoes, because I had noticed in my years in different industries that there's not a lot of premium safety shoes, and people struggle to find the kind of safety shoes that they want. So I wanted to bring something with style, something that's premium, but something that is affordable, because I don't want to say cheap, but affordable. So that's what we do. We have a brand of safety shoes, and well, eventually, where the business is going is that we will eventually cater for all your PPE needs. So we'll have your Kalahari shirts, Kalahari, Conti suits, Kalahari reflective vests, and all those things. But at the moment, the focus is only, safety boots. And yeah, that's what we do, and the market has received us very, very well.
And I can attest to that. And I can attest to that. Yeah, and also to what you said, just to try and go in depth on that specific part. So you started the what actually gave you the idea of getting into it? I heard that you mentioned that you were trying to make sure that you bring a premium, but could you please try and go in depth on that specific part? Was that maybe the only reason that you came up with the whole concept of a company?
Well, look, the concept, like I said earlier, it came, as a result of me working in the health and safety field. So, as you would know, as a health and safety officer, one of your responsibilities is to, be in charge of the supply of PPE, supply and distribution of PPE to your employees. So while I was doing that, I noticed that a lot of people complained about ugly safety shoes, uncomfortable safety shoes. And one other thing that I noticed was that, people would come to work with their safety shoes or safety boots in their bags or in their cars. And then when they get to work, they have to change from their sneakers, shoes, and knockoff time, same routine. They changed from safety boots to their sneakers. So I wanted to bring something that you can comfortably walk in from your house to work and continue with your work day and then still go back without, feeling that sense of shame or feeling uncomfortable. So that's actually where the idea came about, because I also preferred wearing premium safety shoes. When people would buy those ugly shoes, I would go for the most expensive. So I then noticed a gap in the market, that there's those super expensive boots, and then there's those super cheap boots that are not comfortable. So let me come through, and I think that's how the idea was born.
So, okay, and it now makes sense. So thank you for getting into that specific part. That is the part that I wanted to actually get to, you know, because yeah, the fact that you actually saw a gap in the market and you actually moved into it, that is something that is very inspirational, right? Because most people, they follow something that is already there, right? And you saw a gap, you tried to close that gap, and you are closing that gap as you're actually speaking right now. So that is something that is very inspirational, that I actually that actually got to me when we was talking about this the last time we were on a Zoom call. You know, as you were saying, you saw a gap in the marketplace, and you tried to chase that gap in the marketplace. So, can you tell us about that journey? How how was it starting the whole journey? Could you please tell us more about it?
It was exciting, man. It was exciting, but obviously at the same time it was extremely lonely, in the sense that you are basically walking into a space that you don't know much about. Um, so it was crazy. Especially the part where you have to find the right manufacturer that's going to manufacture things according to your specification and something that you like. I probably went through uh, about four um, different types of different types of manufacturers before I got to one that actually gave me what I wanted. So it was very strenuous, but exciting at the same time, because there's this baby that you're trying to groom, or there's this baby that you're trying to raise. So it was exciting, but also challenging, in the sense that when we talk about safety boots, when we talk about PPE, or in general when we talk about business, we're talking about money,
Yeah.
and we know money is something that we don't necessarily have. So that was one of the biggest challenges. But I'm not gonna try to paint it in a negative light. and say it was all challenges. It was extremely exciting. The only challenge or the other challenge was, the sleepless nights. Well, I still have sleepless nights, but at least now I'm having sleepless nights because of other things. So yeah, but I mean, starting a business is always a fun adventure, and that's what I embarked on when I started Kalahari.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. But throughout that journey, did you get to a point where maybe trying to get the manufacturers and stuff like that? Did you get to a point where they maybe scammed you or something like that, or were you like were you one of the lucky ones?
No, I was one of the lucky ones. It was so
Uh,
but obviously that was obviously that was one of the biggest fears that I had because when I started, I would look for manufacturers locally in South Africa, and things didn't work out. So I had to go abroad to look for manufacturers. So obviously, you can imagine sending money to a country that you've never been to, and expecting that you will get something in return. So that was just a a fear that I had to overcome, and a risk that I had to take. And fortunately for me, it worked out very well. I didn't get scammed, and yeah, but it was one of my biggest fears. But yeah, to tell you the truth, nothing of that sort happened to me.
yeah, you were one of the lucky ones, man. You were one of the lucky ones because when you hear of people that were either starting a clothing brand or starting a shoe company or doing drop shipping or anything of that, they were scammed. Even myself, I've been at that specific point, but I haven't gotten scammed, but I've been in that specific spot, so it's really good to hear that at least there are some people that I have, that are the lucky ones, you know.
Yeah, no, I think it's also just a matter of doing your proper research or due diligence in terms of the people that you are dealing with. So you don't just start by sending money and all those things. I mean, you do your research, find out who they are, how long they've been in business. And you don't want to speak to one person only, because one of the things that I did was I wanted to speak to the entire team. I wanted to see the manufacturing plant. I wanted to see them busy working at the manufacturing plant and manufacturing other things. So after seeing all those things, that's when I was like, okay, cool. It's time for me to take that risk. But you can't just send people money just because, I mean, you had a couple of conversations with them over email on WhatsApp. That's problematic.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, and that it's something that I fully understand, because as I was saying to you, I've been in that specific spot, and how do I mean by this? I actually have a company that sells iPhones, So
Mhm.
now, yeah, so now what happened was this. Uh, there was this company that I saw, right? These guys were actually selling these iPhones. You saw them. They had a large following, right? But now, when I was ready to buy them, right? One thing that I saw was that these guys, they were, when you know that a person is legit, as much as there is a website, as much as there is a social media following, but if when you communicate with them, you see that hey, there's something wrong here, so that was what happened on my side, So I had to find another person to actually supply me with them. So those are
Mm.
things that other people actually go through. Even myself, I've been at that specific point, you know. So as I was saying, it's good to
Yeah,
hear that you everything was all good on your side.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I obviously I was one of the lucky ones, not the smart ones, because anyone can get scammed. Anyone. In fact, while 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 studying this business and doing all these things, I didn't get scammed by the manufacturers. I got mugged in Johannesburg when I think a month before we launched, and I was traumatized for a while. So yeah, Josie is not it's not pop and place. It's not a playground, that place.
You've been mad. Were
Hey,
they
I got
carrying
mugged.
were they carrying a gun or knife? Or were they carrying anything?
Hey, bro, I think it would have been better if they were carrying guns, but they were carrying some scary knives. Hey, Baba. Hey, I think a knife would have been, I think a gun would have been better because I know this one is going to shoot me once and then gone. But with knives, I'm still gonna get butchered. They take what.
You gave them.
Yeah, I gave them everything. Luckily, I had a backpack with me, and it had my wallet was in the backpack. So they only took the cash that was in my pockets and my two cell phones. Yeah, that's about it.
But that goes to show that everyone gets to that specific point.
No, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah. But could you please try if that is something that you don't mind, could you please try and walk us through the whole process of of your company, right? And what do I mean by this? In terms of when the shoes are being made, what's the processes that go through there, right? What are the processes that you have to walk through to actually get to the end point?
Well, I think the first thing that I had to do was to find the right design. Um, so I had an idea, but I'm not a designer, so I had to find a designer that would, bring my idea to life.
Okay.
And that's what happened. After the design was done, now it's a question of what material are we going to use. And I was very strict on the fact that we need to use genuine leather because it's something that needs to be of good quality so that we can, give our customers a quality product that offers them longevity and also comfortability. So after that, it was a question of them manufacturing the boots to my specification and sending me the samples so that I can see the samples, and if I'm happy with the samples, then we continue with mass production. So the process, I just explained it in less than a minute, but it's a long process because having to design the shoe, it's not something that is done in a day. It's something that takes a couple of days. Manufacturing of shoes also takes, in fact, not just manufacturing, getting the proper material to manufacture the shoes also takes, a few days. The manufacturing and then the shipping, because, like I said earlier, I do not manufacture in South Africa. So the whole process took about a month for me to get the samples in my hand.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so what would you say that took the longest time? Was it the shipping or was it the designing and stuff like that?
I think it was what took the longest was taking the concept and putting it down on paper, and
Oh,
so that's what I think it's part of the reason why I had to move from one manufacturer to the other until I found someone that I
the
was
right
happy
one.
with. Yeah, because the others were what they were designing is not what I had in mind. So
Mm.
so that's the process that took the longest. But all in all, I mean, it took sort of a week to put the idea on paper. It took another week to get the material and manufacture the. It was, I think it was about 6 samples that came to me. And then it took I think another 2 weeks for the samples to get to me. So yeah, it was a process that happened over a period of a month.
Okay. And that is was that a good thing though in terms of Since you're saying that when you started, it actually took, let's say, about a month. Now, what I'm trying to ask by this is that going now that you already have people are actually buying them and stuff like that. How long does it normally take? Does it normally take that specific month, or is it less than that?
It takes longer.
It
It
still
takes
takes
longer than
longer.
a month. Yeah, because remember with the samples we're talking about 6 pairs,
Mm,
but now we're talking mass production or mass manufacturing. We're talking about 1,000. We're talking about 500. So obviously that's a lot. That's a whole lot of leather. That's a whole lot of PU, rubber. That's a whole lot of manpower that needs to work on that. So in terms of manufacturing, say 1,000 pairs, that alone takes a month.
okay, which is
And
pretty much long, man.
yeah, it's long, but you'd rather have something that is done to perfection,
Yeah.
than something that is done within 3 days and you get complaints. I mean, we've been operational now for almost a year. I think it's half a year now, and until today we don't have any serious
A
issues with
complaint.
customers coming to us saying
Okay.
this is substandard or this is poor quality. So that's what we aim to do.
Mm,
But going back to the issue of the time frame it takes, 1,000 pairs will take something from 3 weeks to 4 weeks to manufacture. And
okay.
then the unfortunate part is that it's you can't fly them into the country. You can,
Okay.
but that's gonna cost you an arm and a leg.
No.
So
Okay.
you have to use sea. So in using sea freight, that's another sort of 4 to 6 weeks. So it's a 2 months process.
Yeah.
Mm.
From from everything I've heard, one thing that comes to my mind is that sounds like too much, man. You know, that 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 was that is something that keeps on playing on my mind. It's just too much.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's something I had to learn while in the process, that it takes money to make money, and unfortunately, we don't have we don't have the money, or we don't have those resources. But we try with whatever it is that we have to get to where we want to get.
And unfortunately, you guys are happy with the process that is actually happening.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't complain about the process. We can push the manufacturing team to work faster,
Mm,
um, and give us a product that is not of good quality. So
yeah.
I'd rather have them take their time, and so that when the product is here, we don't have customers coming back and complaining. And
Yeah.
when the shipment comes through, we can call the captain and say row the boat faster. We can't do
So I do I fully
that.
understand. Yeah, I fully understand. And now, this question was actually a question that I was asking for people that may want to, let's say, start their own clothing brand or their own shoe company or something like that, so that they can be aware of the process that actually happens, because
Mm.
if they don't have that knowledge, and they get into something not knowing what is actually, so I thank you for giving me that information. I know maybe it was a lot for me to ask, but thank you for answering those questions.
No, it's fine. I mean, one thing we don't shy away from is the fact that we don't manufacture the shoes locally. Even
Mm,
when you buy, even when you buy the brand, or when you buy our shoes, it's written there. made in, in this country.
Oh,
So we don't shy away from such things. I mean, I see a lot of and sorry to bring this up, but I see a lot of people saying, this thing is of poor quality, it's made in such and such a place, it's made in Indonesia, it's made in, that's I mean that person will be saying such a thing wearing a Nike t-shirt. Nike is made in China. It's made in Indonesia.
yeah,
It's an American company, but it's made in. I mean, even your iPhone is made in China,
it's made in China.
and it's only programmed in the US or maybe in
Yeah,
India. And it's an American brand, but it's made in China. So people want to say this thing is not quality because it's
of
made
good quality.
yeah, it's made in such and such a country, but at the same time that person, when you look at that person, has items made in that particular country from head to toe.
Exactly.
So
But
yeah.
yeah, the I would simply say that it's lack of information. You know,
Hmm.
yeah, it's just lack of information because
That's
that
true.
that yeah, because that happens a lot. That happens a lot. You would see a person, maybe they say, they check something and then they're like, hey, this thing is made in China. But when you
Hmm.
look at this person, they're carrying an iPhone, and you're like, hey, you know, but those are things that we can't really do anything about. But just keep on giving out the information. You know,
Yeah, yeah, no,
yeah,
no, that's true. That's true. But I
yeah,
think I think after this conversation, people will then and I hope, let me not say I hope after this conversation, people will know about these things and start realizing that it's pointless for you to point at something and say it's not, it's not a local brand because it's not made, locally.
yeah,
when you when you have an iPhone and you think, and well, it's an American brand, but where is it made?
in China.
You know?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
yeah, and also there is this guy. I don't know if you know of this. It's BA Pusher. Do you know that person?
Is that?
BA Pusher.
I
Or
don't.
so
I
or so
don't
basically,
think.
or no. So there was basically this thing of um. Sorry for going off topic there also, but there was this thing of
No, that's fine. Let's
yeah.
do it.
Yeah, so there was this thing of people buying iPhones at what's this place at iStore, right? And now people they when they buy their iPhones at
Mhm.
iStore, they the people that were buying them from suppliers, people were looking down on those iPhones. So what this guy was actually saying is that as much as people there's something that they don't know, right? Which is iStore is not actually the store the store that actually iStore is also a supplier of iPhones. They also supply the iPhones. They are not exactly the store, but they also are supplying those iPhones. So it's pointless to say that the people that buy those iPhones from sites, those people are buying fake iPhones or something like that. Just to come back to what you were actually saying, it's just a lack of information that people don't know about.
Yeah, no, no, that's true. That's true. There's so many examples that one can give, but I
Yeah,
think we'll spend the whole night talking about such things. So
yeah.
let's yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, also when we was on a conversation on the Zoom meeting, you actually mentioned something which I would like us to get into. You mentioned that the to grow the company, right? You actually got investors to come through, and that specific topic, most people, they actually look for investors, and some, they even stop their ventures due to the fact that they don't have investors and something and stuff like that. So could you please get into that topic, so that you can share with the people that are listening your story in terms of the investor side of things.
Yeah, so with with me, what I did was I obviously started by going the conventional route, which is approaching banks, approaching funding agencies, and all of them were not keen on assisting or keen on investing. And I think before approaching these entities, the first thing I did was I approached an individual, or it was two individuals. I approached them, and they liked the idea. And with them liking the idea, I think they were actually busy with other projects, so they didn't want to get distracted in pushing this with me also. So they focused on what they were doing,
Okay.
and I had to move. So I went to this government agencies, to the banks, and all those things, but unfortunately, I couldn't get any funding from them. And then
Okay.
what I did was I started advertising on social media with the samples that I just pushing the brand. It wasn't even a brand then; it was just samples. Pushing it on social media, saying, "Hey, watch out! Look out for this! It's coming very soon. This is exciting." Just to get the hype and people
Yeah.
talking. And after I noticed that people are extremely interested in this, I posted on LinkedIn sometime last year, 2023, around February. I posted on LinkedIn that I have this, I've got letters of intent, I've got promises, not really letters. Sorry, I've got letters of intent and promises to give me off-take agreements, but I didn't have off-take agreements. I just had people that promised to give me off-take agreements.
Mm.
And then I posted on LinkedIn that I need funding or investors,
Okay.
and I got a whole lot of people approaching me from LinkedIn, showing their interest,
Mm.
and yeah, eventually I got a team that invested in the business, and here we are. So I
Okay.
got investments or through LinkedIn and through social media.
Okay. That
Yeah.
is actually what I wanted to actually get to. So most people, I think I did mention this, that most people, they try to get investors, and they even stop their ventures due to the fact that they can't get the investment, because they go to what's this? It's NYDA or something like that, right?
IGA, CEDA, CIFA, I
Yeah,
went through all of
all
them.
of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are people that actually go through that also, and they don't get the funding, and when they don't get the funding, I don't know if it maybe kills their confidence in the business or something like that, but they stop with all of that, right? Now,
Yeah.
most people, yeah, and now I'm not sure if people don't know of other alternative motives that they could go to, such as social media, right? Because I actually had an interview, right, with a friend of mine, just discussing this, that most people, they don't understand the power of social media, right? as much as it, as much as at times social media is very dangerous, right? That I have to say, right? And I know that social media at times is dangerous, and all in all, it's dangerous. But then also there is a good side of it, which is things like that can actually happen. You were looking for investors, you went the traditional route, but you didn't get the investors, and when you did something that was actually opposite, you went out to social media, you got the investors, which is most people are they aren't aware of those kinds of things, you know.
But but um, I, I can tell you one thing that I think is also I wouldn't say that people are not aware of the power of social media. I think one thing that plays a role is people are scared to put their ideas out there on social media, um, on the basis that someone else with money can steal the idea and run with it. I also had that fear.
Okay.
I also had that fear until I was like, you know what? Screw it, man. Let me do it. If someone steals the idea,
Then,
even if it might be identical, it's not gonna be the same thing. So I
okay.
think a lot of people are afraid of that part. That is why when you listen to a whole lot of investors, people that are in that space, they tell you that entrepreneurs will come to them with an idea, and before they present the idea to them, they want them to sign a non-disclosure agreement and all those. Yeah. So I think that plays a big role in with regards to people not using social media platforms to but that's not the only thing. I mean, some are just maybe not aware that you can use social media as a platform. But I think a big part of the reason is what I just mentioned, because I also went through that fear, but I had to overcome it. Yeah.
And you eventually did it.
Yeah, I did it. I was like, if someone steals the idea, I mean, come on. I'm a huge Nas fan, and there's a line where Nas says, "There's no new idea under the sun. Anything that you think of now, someone else has already thought of it."
Yeah, I will think of
So
it.
yeah, so that's what I thought. I was like, nah, let me do it, man. Anyway, I'm not the only one doing safety shoes. There's issues. So that's how I got a couple of rejections from other potential investors. But we keep going. You don't lose hope because you got rejected. Rejection must give you to push even more.
Yeah,
I'm
but
I'm used to rejection. I can tell you now. I'm used to rejection. Trust me. Been rejected I've been rejected so many times. It doesn't do anything to me.
and I think I know maybe which other parts maybe played a part in that.
You see, that part that you're thinking about, that's where I have fear of rejection. That part I don't play too much there, because hey, even when I was still young, I'd look for someone, or I'd look for a party that is interested in working with this party before I make a move.
So
I don't just make a move. I have to check that. Oh, okay, cool. Let me go.
then you go inside.
Yeah.
I know, I fully understand, man. I fully understand. That side, hey, it's a bit tough. So I understand, you know.
No, hey, Muna, every township has an Uncle Bob, and a lot of Uncle Bob, they tend to Uncle Bob because of that department.
Of that party.
Yeah, so hey, you need to be very careful.
Mm, I know. And also, man, just so that we can just have a clear picture, right? How
Yeah,
many investors do you think rejected your idea?
Yo, more than five.
More than five.
Yeah, more than five. But um, I think also it's a question of why did they reject the
I
idea?
was about to ask
Uh,
that.
Yeah, because I think most of them rejected. the proposal on the basis of the amount that I was looking for.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think they rejected because of that, and probably many other reasons that they had. But in most cases, it was the problem was the amount, and I think the mistake that they did um, was that they didn't negotiate, which these guys that I met with uh,
They
negotiated.
negotiated.
But even for them to negotiate was because now I had reduced the amount that I wanted, because I had seen that, you know what, this amount that I'm looking for, hey, no, I'm losing a little bit because of it. Because my idea, one other problem that we have as new entrepreneurs or young entrepreneurs is that we don't we don't want to start small. We want to start, with a bang. So I think the initial amount that I wanted, it wasn't ridiculous, but for a startup, it was quite scary. So I had to reduce the amount. I had to reduce the amount by more than half. And the guys that invested, when they came through, I had already reduced the amount that I wanted. Yeah, so even them, when they came to me, they said to me, "We've seen that you want, investors. First and foremost, before we waste any time, let's we are interested, but we don't want to waste your time. So please tell us the figures that we're looking at, so that we can decide if we want to have a meeting with you or not." So I think if I had given them the initial amount, they would have said, "No, no, no, we don't have that kind of cash." No.
But and also that is actually something that I think it should come off as a lesson to people that are listening to this, right? Because as you said, most people they don't want to start small, right? Some people want to start with a bang. They want to get the high figures and everything like that, But if you aren't able to start small, then when you go up high, right? That's when you are likely to fail, right? Because if you start high, you don't know how does this bring this, you started high, you started with employees and all of that, you are bound to actually fail. So that is something that I think most people that are listening to this should actually learn, you know.
Yeah, I read something the other day. It says, quick success builds ego, and slow success builds character. So, and it's true. It's true. That's why you have shows like I Blew It thriving on TV, because there's a whole that blew it. But you don't get to see on I Blew It, you don't get to see entrepreneurs that started from the ground up, and when they got there, they blew all their money.
Yeah,
It's people,
that's
it's people that got instant riches.
mm, and when that happens, it's hard to actually handle that much, because come to think of that, I blew it. I was watching it with one of my friends, and he was like, "Hey, bruh, if I could win about 50 million, think about what I could do with that money." And I was like, "Bruh, you would lose all of that 50 million." And he was like, "Oh, no way, Brian, all of that." But I was like, "Brian, you would lose that 50 million because when you get it, first of all, you will be like, this is a lot of money. So I can spend this much and this much. And when you keep on spending this much and this much, that 50 million keeps on going down. So you wouldn't actually know how to control that money. So you would lose it.
How are you going to control 50 million if you've never controlled 50,000? You've never controlled 500,000. You've never controlled 5 million. With
Exactly.
this thing, you have to,
Yeah.
steps.
It hasn't,
Well,
it
I'm
has,
not saying that. Let's not get it twisted. There's those guys that are just smart. They get 50 million instantly, and they build generational wealth. There is a few of them, but in most cases, it doesn't. That.
yeah. and also it's more about learning, because some people they can actually get that 50 million and they know what to do with it, because some, let's say, some read, some they study other successful people, and they see how they actually, you know. So it that also plays a role in that, in that, you know.
I if there's anyone who's going to watch this and after watching this they happen to win the lotto, my advice to them is that once you win that whatever amount it is, 50 million, 100 million, don't even touch that amount. Just put it at the bank, enjoy the
Yeah,
interest, and think about what you want
yeah,
to do with it. That's it.
yeah. That
I
would
mean,
be something.
imagine yeah, imagine earning interest on 100 million.
Yeah,
How much
but
how much money is that?
yo, and also it depends on the on the interest, but other than that, it's still too much, you know, on its
That's,
own.
that's still a lot.
It's yeah,
Even if they even if they were to say you in a year you're getting 6% interest from that 100 million, it's still a lot. That's a lot. That's around what? Yes. I'm gonna do the N70 figures now. No, let's not go there. But it's a lot. It's
yeah,
still in the 6% of that is still in the millions.
yeah. So it's
In fact,
you know,
yeah, it's 6 million. So you'll be earning 6 million a year
yeah.
if they yeah. So it's still
So
a lot.
yeah, yeah, it's a lot, but also would be able to handle it. That would be, that's also something else, you know, because that's still too
Ah,
much money,
gosh,
you know. But
gosh, that's a problem.
yeah, but now just to get back to the investor part, what is it that maybe you think people they need to know when they are going out to present to investors about their business ideas or their startup ideas?
I think know your product. That's number one. Know your product. Know your market. Um, know your product. Know your market. And the figures. Get the figures right. Because even as much as you know the product and you know the market, when you get to investors and the numbers are not adding up, it's going to be a problem. So do your proper research, and make sure that when you approach someone and you want them to spend their money on your idea, um, you actually are certain that you'll be able to to get them returns and to get the to to for them to get their money back. So know your product, know the market, and do your proper market research. And I can't stress this, enough. Do your proper market research. Make sure that the market is there for your product, and if there's no market, if the market isn't that big, but make sure you can evoke the interest of people in liking your product or in seeking your product. So I think those are the basics. Just product knowledge, market research, and financial projections. Get those
Oh,
right, and yeah, get those right, and you should be fine.
okay. But okay, no, I fully understand. I fully understand, and that is something that is very interesting, you know, because uh, I love to actually back something up with something that I've seen, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's this. I don't know if you watch the Dragon's Den, those kinds of do you actually watch them?
Yeah, I've watched a couple
Yeah.
of episodes. There was Dragon's Den in Africa, and there's Dragon's Den in the UK. So I do watch it when I well,
Oh,
I'm not as a I'm not a follow. I used to follow the Dragons Den South Africa. I used to follow that, but the one in the UK, I just watch it when I come across it.
Oh, 'cause I was actually watching the one in the UK. There was actually there were two people, right? They actually owned that company. You know, they came there with the perfect business. The business was actually making them it was actually making money. Everything was good with the business, but these guys, they didn't know what their gross income of the company was. Not that they didn't, maybe they knew what it was, but they just didn't know what a gross income was. And they lost their investment just because of that. you know and it goes to show
Yeah.
that it goes to show that you need to know more about everything before you go in front of investors. You need to know your business.
No, of course. That is why there's this thing a lot of people do, even people that act, people that comedians and all those things. It's called practicing in front of a mirror.
Yeah.
It might sound crazy, but you stand there in front of the mirror, you ask yourself possible questions that an investor will ask you, and you answer those questions.
Mm,
And I don't like doing such things, but eventually you get pushed to. I'm one person that doesn't like over preparing, um, and but at some point you have to, you need to prepare. I personally don't like uh, over preparing, because
okay.
then, yeah, because then you go and sit with people, and then when you speak, people can hear that this is scripted. And if someone asks you a question that is not even part of what you're thinking about, and then you lose everything that you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't I don't like that. That is why at the center of everything I said, know your product, know your market, know your financial projections. That's it.
mm,
Yeah.
I know, I fully understand, and I hope everyone that is listening to the podcast will also understand this, right? I really hope so, because at the end of the day, that's the whole point of the podcast. It's to bring knowledge to people that are trying to get into business or that have businesses. So yeah, I hope that that is something that they will now have a full awareness of.
Hmm.
you know. So yeah, you said that you started advertising your company, on with samples. You were saying to me you're not that big into anything marketing related or technical related. But at the very same time, I'm like, Ish, maybe you aren't aware of a few things, but you have it in you, because for the mere fact that you actually, when you receive the products, you know that you should go to social media with them, you know, because when I speak to most business owners, they some of them they are using word of mouth. They are using referrals. They are not using social media, and they don't see the use of social media. You know, now the fact that you actually went to social media with what you have, and you saw that people are actually looking for this, that actually tells me that there is knowledge there of what needs to happen in terms of marketing and.
Yeah, well, I guess it is there. It's something that probably I do have, because I've been getting comments from people that we love your marketing strategy, and I'm like, what marketing strategy are they talking about? Because I don't have anything.
You just
So
post.
yeah, I just post, but I then approached people that I know have a huge following on social media, and I asked them to post my product, and they did. And I think
Mm,
if I can mention one of them is, in fact, I can mention quite a few. Vugadaki, when Vugadaki, I think Vugadaki was the first person that I
Okay.
approached to post on my behalf, and after he posted, it blew up, and then obviously on Twitter there's there's an account that is quite controversial. It's what is it? It's not Beru. There's not a person in South Africa that doesn't know that account.
Okay.
We tried Beru.
It's what?
Yeah, it's not Beru.
It's not Beneru.
Beru.
Oh, it's not Beneru. Oh, I thought you were saying it was Beneru. I was like, hey, you know what? That
No, no, no.
probably,
You've seen it definitely.
yeah, I
I'll
was
send you.
about to say that.
I'll
Okay.
send you a screenshot of that. Yeah, but
Oh,
I approached the guy or the lady because I don't even know if it's a man or a girl to post for me. He also posted on Twitter, which is X now, and it
yeah.
also blew up. And then after that, people saw that and they started sharing. There's other accounts that are influential that saw the post from either Beru or Vugadaki, and they started sharing. And people started. And at that time, the only point of buying the shoes was for you to contact me directly. So at that time, you can imagine the calls that I was getting, the WhatsApp messages that I was getting, the inbox on Facebook that I was getting. It was overwhelming but exciting for me. It was so exciting. So there was a point where in a day, um, in the first month of sales, there was a point where in a day would push anything from 5 and 20 in one day, and that was amazing. And like I said, at that point, it was only you could only buy directly from
From
me.
you.
But at the moment, diversify a bit in that you can now buy the boots on the Take a Lot marketplace.
Okay.
So the boots are available on Take a Lot. They are also available on the Leroy Merlin marketplace. And just before this call, I was on a call with the web developers. So
Okay.
I think by the end of next week, our website should be live.
Should be on.
So that will be another, yeah, that will be another platform where where people will be able to purchase our product.
Oh, okay. That sounds good. That sounds good. And so since you're actually saying that, you what's this? You were saying that the what you call this? You were saying that I forgot this. You were saying that your product is actually in Takealot, right? Now, storing your product in Takealot, right? As how has that experience been for you at this point? Is it good or
Look, I'm not here to promote Take a Lot, but it's working.
I know I know I fully understand.
No, it's working. It's obviously Take a Lot is a known and trusted e-commerce thingy.
Yeah,
So yeah, so when people see that they can actually get your product there,
yeah,
it speaks to the legitimacy and authenticity of
yeah, of it.
yeah. So yeah, it is working, man. Like I said, I don't want to promote Take a Lot. I mean, Take a Lot is it's already big. I can't even. But yeah, I think it was a great move. And Take a Lot is actually moving numbers because of the traffic that is on the website. We are able to move numbers on Take a Lot. So no. I'm happy with Take a Lot. I'm very happy with Take a Lot.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. And also, just to get back to something you were saying, you were actually mentioning that you got the people that were actually influential on social media, right? So you know what we call that in the marketing world?
Mm-hmm.
We call that influencer marketing. So you didn't have knowledge of what you were actually doing, but you were actually doing something that is effective, you know. So for that, I just want to say this again. Even though you think you don't have that much knowledge into it, but from everything I've been listening to while speaking to you, there is knowledge there, man. Maybe you know, but there is, you know, maybe you learned it from somewhere, but I can safely say that there is knowledge in terms of marketing, right?
Yeah, no, thanks, man. I think it's also an issue of um it comes with experience.
Yeah.
It comes with all the failed businesses. It also comes with experience in the workplace.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, but I mean also it's just a matter of observing on social media that this person has numbers. If this person can push this thing, a lot of people are going to see it, and a lot of people are going to gain interest. And I think it actually started from the fact that I used to post on social media, and only my friends would share, and their friends would see it and share. And then I was like, no, man, I need to start seeing numbers. I need numbers to start seeing the product. And then I was like, nah, let me get people that have numbers and let them push for me on social media.
and
Yeah,
the future was a success.
it was.
And I'm saying that and of which it actually was a success.
No, of course it was. It was.
Yeah.
It was. In fact, I was on the phone with Vugadaki this morning. He was like, "Hey man, let's push another program. Let's push your brand again." I'm like, "Yeah, no, it's fine." I sent him. I think I haven't been on Facebook the whole day. He probably posted. I just didn't see it.
You didn't check
Um,
it.
yeah, I gave him, some pictures and videos to post on his page, and
Mm,
maybe just to while he's doing that, let me also push his product is if it's fine with you.
no problem. No problem.
Yeah. So Vugadagi has and it's relevant for people that want to get in the entrepreneurial space.
Okay.
Vugadagi has a published book. It's called Ubuntu Economy.
Okay.
It's a very it's a very exciting and interesting read that I would recommend people to
To to read.
yeah to read. Yes, it's available. You can just check Vuga Daiki on Facebook
Okay.
and maybe place. I don't know on which other platforms it's available at, and it's the last time I checked, it wasn't that expensive. I think it's about 350, not 250 a copy.
Okay.
So, but I might be getting the numbers wrong, but it's quite
Somewhere
affordable,
around there.
and
Mm.
yeah, somewhere around.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
the book, yeah, the book is called sorry about that. The book is called Ubuntu Economy. If you forget to check Bugadaki on Facebook, just search
mm,
Ubuntu Economy, and you should be
well,
able to see it.
and I will actually check it out myself. And I was actually I was going to ask you, do you have maybe a copy of it with you so that you can show the people?
I unfortunately I don't have a copy.
Oh,
I don't have a copy. Yeah.
okay. I will try to maybe showcase it on the screen in this specific part.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of the book, and then you can do that.
No problem. No problem. So yeah, and also I think when we are about to end the podcast, there's no problem. But there's something that I will also want you to actually do, right?
Okay.
But I'll tell you about it. So yeah, we were still talking about the influencer marketing that you did, and it was actually a success, you know. And unfortunately, that is something that I'm even still saying now that there is experience there, you know. And you mentioned that maybe it's because of the failed businesses that you've had, you know. So how many
Yeah.
businesses did you actually start before getting to this one?
Let me see. The first business that I registered, I was still in college.
Mm.
I still remember the name. I wouldn't understand every time I went to a tender briefing or something. Someone would ask me, "What's the name of your company?" When I tell them, they would laugh. I didn't understand what the hell are they doing?
And I'm
So,
laughing because you say people do not laugh.
yeah, so the name of the company was Kasi Boy Trading, and I guess people were laughing at it because they're like, "Hey man, this boy wants to get formal with that informal name, Kasi Boy." Uh,
Because
you
people,
know? So
mm,
yeah, so that was that. That was the first one I did, and with that one, obviously, still as a student, and it was back then when entrepreneurship was the
mm,
thing. So all I did was run for small tenders here and there, and I used to get them. I remember one of the biggest projects I got was paving of a street somewhere in the northwest.
mm,
That was something, and then after that, I registered another company with a formal name now. That makes sense. We did, yeah, we did environmental management. We did bioremediation of contaminated oil contaminated soil.
okay,
We did together with a friend of mine called Leseja. We did the biodiversity management plan of one of the mines in Mokopane, Limpopo.
okay.
And yeah, so I've been trying all these things, but as soon as the money dries up, I update my CV and apply for a job. And
Mm,
yeah, so those are some of the things that I tried. But in the sense of maybe pushing a specific brand that is mine, this is
the
the first
first
time.
one, okay.
Yeah, and I hope it's not just a lesson that's going to fail. I hope it's a lesson that is going to succeed and
Mm,
inspire young people to you know to to dream big and to do things that are maybe seen as something that is outside of your
of the,
comfort zone and outside of.
yeah,
So
and
yeah.
yeah, and of which now, you actually mentioned something, which is you hope that it also shows people that they would need to get out of their comfort zone, you know, and that is actually something that most people they don't do, right? They as people get comfortable in their comfort zone, you know, they don't know when to get out and when not to, you know. There's actually something that I normally actually I think I saw it. It was what you call this? It was a quote which said that it's important for for people to move out of where they were born. You know, it goes like that. I'm not sure if you've also
Oh,
yeah,
yes, yes. Move from your neighborhood. Go start a life somewhere. Go meet new challenges.
yeah,
I've heard of that. It's nothing grows. It says there's another one that says the comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there.
Yeah, that one I'm not aware of, but that also, what I'm trying to get to is most people, they don't want to get out of that specific place just because it 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 doesn't really get them to a point where they get in trouble. They experience stuff, they want to be in that specific place which they are safe, right? And if you always remain in that specific place which you always feel safe, you won't actually grow at the end of the day, so that is that is like,
True.
thank you for mentioning that also, because I wouldn't have thought of it.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
Yeah. And then like,
Awesome.
yeah, and you were saying that your website, I hope your website, when I post this podcast, your website will be online, you know, because I want to actually leave the link of it down below, in the description. So I hope your what you call this, your website will be online. But
I think the website will be live sometime mid next week, sometime around Wednesday, Thursday. It
no,
should be live. If it goes live before you post, I'll share.
no,
If it goes live, in fact, we'll communicate. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, by the time you post, just check with me. If it's live, then I'll share it with you. If not, then we'll just have to go without it.
no, okay, but the this podcast episode will launch, because there is the one that is going to be launched, that is going to be posted on Saturday, right? Actually on Sunday. So this one will be posted next week Sunday. So yeah, I'm
No,
pretty
the
sure.
website will, the website, nah, it will be live by then.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So now that you've literally told us about your company, right? And I'm guessing people have heard your story. So could you please try, maybe what is something that you think that most entrepreneurs should know that they don't know, and if they knew it, it would change their whole trajectory of building a company or of being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, I think I think this a lot of people have said this before, and I'm just gonna be repeating something that a lot of people say, but
Okay.
that we don't want to, no, we don't want to listen to, or we don't want to agree with it. But the reality is that nothing comes easy, and the reality is that in entrepreneurship you are going to be tested more than you've ever been
Mm,
tested before. But I mean, if the resilience is not there, then you're not going to succeed.
mm,
The thing is that when we have a dream, we we think about all the positives. You know, we
mm.
think about all the wins and all those nice sort of visions.
Oh, okay.
We don't think about the challenges. And
Okay.
even when we think about the challenges, we sugarcoat the challenges. But in real life, the challenges will have you feeling like, yes, as you know what, I don't know what I'm doing here. I actually want to quit. So it's during those times that you need to then remember why you started what you started, and
Mm,
why it has to succeed. So yeah, so I think entrepreneurs, people must know this, that when you start a business, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be times where you feel like giving up, but
mm.
it's at that point where you feel like giving up that you should push even harder.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you don't know what would happen tomorrow, because now maybe it might be hard, but and also you might think of quitting, but what if you quit or let's say today, and tomorrow was going to be the breaking point of your company or of whatever that you are venturing into, you know. So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
That's true. For you to get to the light, you have to travel through darkness first. Um,
yeah,
uh, so a lot of people quit just before they reach the peak, and what that
yeah.
does is that what that does is that it you move from level 1 to level 2, and then when you get to level 3, it's quite difficult. Now you can't move to level 4. Then you go down back to start level 1 of something else, and then
Mm,
you go to level 2, go to level 3. When you get to level 3, like, come on, this is not. Then you start
you
something else
go
again. You
again.
go on level. You never reach anywhere. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing to to start something else, and to re-strategize and dream a new dream, but
Mm,
you can't keep changing. You can't keep changing your vision, and you can't keep changing your dreams. Sometimes
yeah.
you have to push something until it. Um, there's this saying that you need to be stubborn about your dreams, but you
Okay.
flexible about the methods that you're going to use to
Mm,
attain that.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 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 actually, and you know what you've just said right now. Um, that I will also keep, and I will keep on saying that over and over again to everyone that I meet that gets into a specific situation, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, and you also mentioned something which I just had to ask you, right? Um, was the dream that you wanted while you were growing up, you know, where you are at this exact moment, would you say that you are getting to where you wanted to get to, or you there, or you
No, no,
shifted maybe?
no, 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 no. I'm far from where I want to be. I'm far from where I wanted to be, but I'm on that journey.
Yeah.
I'm on that journey. I'm not gonna sit here and lie and say when I was 5 years old, I said to myself, one day I'm going to have a brand of no. This is something that came, something that
Okay.
came that came. Yeah, it came later. But obviously, every child has dreams to make it in life, and and to live a very productive and successful life.
Okay.
And that's a dream I had, and I think I'm still working on that.
Okay.
Um, and eventually, I will get there. But in as far as business, for the fact that I've had many failed attempts in business before, it
Yeah.
tells you that even from I've always wanted to be in that entrepreneurial space.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, now that you said that, maybe what what you know, I have a question in my head, and I
Say
understand it, you know, but
say
when it has to
say say it in closer. Let me see if I can decode it.
in Xhosa.
Yeah.
The thing is, if I were to say it in Xhosa, then I would have to put captions in the podcast, and that is going to take time.
I just wanted to test my knowledge
Of course,
of
let me say it in Xhosa, let me say it in English. So, ngokosengcingweni, iphupho eli wawunalo
Mhm.
ukuba uthi ufuna uba masithi mhlawumbi wasithi ufuna uba ne-construction, ufuna uba naloo nto ufuna uba nayo.
Yeah.
Yintoni eyayikwenza yintoni eyayikwenza uba ufune elo phupho? Yintoni into eyakwenza ufune elo phupho?
I think I, I wouldn't I can't be I'm unable to point it as at a specific thing, but I think it mostly comes from your background. the people that you grow up with, the people that you see on the streets. And obviously, I mean, we grew up at a time where the closest thing to success that you see is a teacher, a principal, maybe a doctor here and there. So it was just a matter of you saying, I would want to be more than that.
Okay.
I'd want to be more than that. I remember at some point someone said to me, and I think I was still in high school. Someone said to me, the richest man in the world is David Beckham. And I objected. I'm like, no, David Beckham gets a salary. So whoever pays David Beckham a salary is probably the richest. And I want to be that person. Yeah. So it just comes from, the people that you grow up with and the conversations that you have with the people around you.
Okay.
Yeah. So when you grow up, you see people that have tuck shops, people that have supermarkets, and you're like, I want that also, But I think the biggest motivator for me was always the fact that I want to be my own boss. I don't want someone to boss me around. And yeah, I think that's one of the things. Even now, as an employee, it makes me a horrible employee because yeah, I don't like being bossed around. So I think that was the biggest motivator.
Yeah. And also, I was going to ask you, after starting your company, did you did you stop working, or are you still working?
Well, I had already stopped working when I started this. I think if um, it was a blessing in disguise, because had I been in the office at that point, I wouldn't have been pushed to push this idea. So so when I started the business, I wasn't employed by anyone,
Okay.
which gave me the time to actually push it as much as I did. Even though it was painful, because I mean you would understand. I mean, starting a business or starting a brand, you need money for this, you need money for that. And if there's no money coming in but only going out, obviously eventually the well runs dry, and it becomes a problem. But we soldier on.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, no, and you know what you've just said, it perfectly makes sense, because there's maybe there are a few people that have that when they started their companies or whatever they started, they there wasn't money that needed to go out a lot and more than coming in, and
Yeah.
but yeah, but with me, man, what you're actually saying, it was the very same thing, the it was always going out but never coming in, and
No, of
even at
course.
yeah, and even at this specific point, um, I wouldn't say that I love it when it comes in, as much as you can love, that when it does come in, I would rather it go out to make sure that the companies actually grow, because it's useless to say you have a lot of money, and as much as you have this money, but this money isn't actually growing. What actually brought that money in, you know?
Mm,
And
What
that
what?
is, you were saying?
No, no. I was just saying. I mean, it's pointless for you to have a bunch of money that's not bringing in,
Exactly.
another bunch of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, man. Because if you aren't investing back into what brought in that money, what actually brought in that money might actually go down. It might suffer from what you're actually doing. So even myself, I try my best when when it is coming in, I make sure that it goes out. It goes
Well,
back into.
yeah. Let me maybe make a suggestion to you.
Okay.
That next time when it comes, when the money comes in and you want to push it to go out, I'll give you my account number. Just send some of it to my account. I'll put it on that. Yeah. So don't even comment on that. It's an agreement. You can continue.
It's sealed. It's sealed.
Sealed. Sealed.
Yeah.
Cast in stone. Yeah.
But yeah, if it's not actually going back into your company, it's pretty much, because I see most people. The reason I'm actually getting back to this is because I see most people when they get the money and all of that, like for instance, when we were speaking, you actually said that you took your money in, and then you kept on buying the you making sure that there is products to actually sell to people, which that says to me that the money that comes in, you reinvest it back into the company, and
No,
and
that's
and
true.
yeah,
That's
and
that's true because sorry, because like I said earlier on, Kalahari was started on a low budget,
mm,
so whatever comes in needs to refinance the business.
yeah,
So whatever comes in is reinvested in the business.
mm, so
Yeah.
so so now that to me says that you know how to use your money, because most people, as I was saying, most people when they get the money, they go out to let's say to go and buy maybe Gucci stuff. They go buy cars. They go out to buy, go to restaurants to buy expensive food and all of that. Not that that is something that is wrong, right? If you want to do that, then you can do that. But that's what most people do, and they don't reinvest back into what actually brought in the money, you know. And and,
No,
and
then
that you're gonna say?
that that part of buying Gucci's and all those things, that's just losing focus. That's hustling backwards.
Mm,
The time will come. Well, the time will come where you can afford all those things. But initially when you start a business, you just want to afford the basic stuff. You just want for the fridge not to be empty. You don't want to go
mm,
to bed with an empty stomach. You don't want the kids to go to bed on an empty stomach. All these other things you'll accumulate as and when you get there, and chances are by the time you get the kind of money that can afford you like that lifestyle, you are no longer interested in that lifestyle. That's the
mm.
beauty about that's the beauty about
Yeah.
it.
And have you been at a point where, let's say when you started your first business, right? You said you started it when you were in college, right? And I
Mm.
also started, actually the first time that I started when I was still in high school. But um, when you started your first company, were you at a point where maybe um you took maybe your own money for maybe money for college, and you kept on investing into your company, those kinds of things? Did those kind of things actually happen? Or
Well, back when we were in college, Baba, we worked for the streets. You go, you make money. The whole rest, after your invoice is paid, the whole rest is party. The whole
serious?
rest is the party, Baba. At that point, I don't know if we were dumb or what, in terms of clothing and whatnot. At that point, we didn't have this pressure of Gucci and whatnot. As long
Mm.
as you, and I was in politics. I loved politics. I was one of the student activists and whatnot.
Okay.
So as long as I had a Uzi shirt and sharp nose shoes, I was okay. I looked the part. I looked like an activist, and I also looked like a entrepreneur. So
Mm.
yeah, back then, every project, when you get a project, you need to go struggle for funding for that project. That's how we survive.
I know, I fully understand, man. And
Yeah.
actually, the reason why I was actually asking you this is because I was also at that specific point because when I started, um, not the first one, but the second one, I was also in college, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and on my side, it was a bit different 2 years because with me when I started, the like immediately when I got it, it would still go into the company still, right? But but what I was trying to find out was um during in college, how was it actually when you started your own company? You were around a lot of people, a lot of crowds, and all of that. How was it? That's what I wanted to actually find out. You
Well, I mean, it wasn't bad, and it wasn't as different to now,
know.
um, because obviously, like I said, I was in politics, student politics. So you eventually graduate into sitting with the adults in
Mm.
in 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 the big league. Um,
Sure.
yeah, so when you are there, you get to listen in when they talk about the standards, when they talk about, and that's where
Mm.
it comes from. You get to listen in when people are talking about yes, I have two invoices that haven't been paid, and you also want to be that complain about such things. And yeah,
Mm.
so it I mean, that's how it all started. And I had a friend of mine who passed away a couple of years back. May his soul rest in peace. That's the dude that I actually started doing business with, and he was uh, he was a crazy negotiator, which I didn't like. But yeah, that man loved business. He before we registered even an official business, he used to sell archer at rest. And
Mm.
the negotiation part of his that I didn't like is that he always wanted to buy things on discount. If you say your archer is 2 rand, he will say I have
Oh.
1. So I didn't like that, because the reason I didn't like that was that I would say to him, "Hey, you don't mind spending 10,000 on alcohol for everyone at rest,
Mm.
but you want to buy from this old lady that's selling fat, amakwe for
Mm.
5 rand. You want to give it 3 rand. But tonight you're going to spend 10,000 on everyone. No, don't do that." Back then.
Mm.
It was just, the responsibilities were different. In fact, there were no
Oh.
responsibilities back then. Now,
Okay.
responsibilities. That's why we are more focused now.
Oh. No, I fully
Yeah.
understand. No, I fully understand. So, man, now I'm actually looking at the time now, and I said it until 9 o'clock. So we only have 4 minutes. So now, just to try and wrap things up, what if you had to go back and do things differently? What would you change about what you've done, and how would you improve it?
If I were to do things differently from back then when I was in a youngster, back then when I
Yeah,
was in I
and
think
also starting that first business and stuff like that.
I think one of the things that I would have changed is just using money in a more responsible way, and also saving money. And a mentor of mine who's a mining giant advised me to invest in Capitec stock.
Okay.
And I always knew I wanted to invest in Capitec stock, but I never did.
Mm.
If I would do anything, that would be one of the things. I think 15 years back, I would have maybe invested 10,000 in Capitec. Today, I would be a millionaire
Mm.
instead of
Um,
drinking instead of drinking that 10,000 or 15,000 with
mm.
my people. Yeah.
I know, I fully understand, man. So,
Yeah.
with all that being said, I want to thank you, man, for actually agreeing to join me in this podcast and be my guest, right? I want to thank you for that, and also, I want to actually ask you something. Where can people actually find you?
Um, on Facebook, it's Kholofelo Smith Aphane. On Instagram, it's at Koketso. It's at Koketso Smith. And on WhatsApp, you can get me on WhatsApp. It's the number is 073 922 0207.
Okay.
I'll repeat it 073 922 0207. You can get me on LinkedIn. It's the same, Kholofelo Smith Aphane. And yeah, that's those are the platforms where you can get me. I'm not gonna give out my email at the moment because there's a new email coming with the website.
No problem. I will leave that
Yeah.
email also on the description down below. And also, before I was also going to ask you something. Why aren't you on YouTube? Is the reason behind
I
that?
don't know. It's something that I never thought about, but I
Oh,
think the guy, the developer will also run a YouTube ads.
oh, you were saying your network gave me something that I couldn't hear you.
No, I was saying the website developer will start running YouTube ads and Google ads, but maybe you can maybe guide me on how to to do this YouTube thing.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I will definitely
Yeah.
do that. I will definitely do that. Yeah, as I was saying, man, thank you very much for being part of the podcast. And also, you actually mentioned a book. Could you please repeat that book again so that if anybody forgot about it, they can remember it again?
Ubuntu Economy by Vugadaki.
Okay. Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time.
No problem, man.
Ola.